The Discord has spoken, and you guys voted for a much longer video for this episode, particularly with sprint races, even though this one isn't quite as long as I'd hoped. But I'll get onto that later. But if you want to join in making this series, get involved in my Discord. I will leave a link to the description below, and thank you guys for tuning in to this video. What's happening, everybody? It's Spark here, and welcome to episode 4 of my My Team Career Mode series, and we are coming up to our first sprint round of the season in Imola. So if you guys are new around here, then do obviously leave a like and leave a subscribe as well. We'd love to have you guys on board as well, and do join my Discord server as well, but down below, to get involved in making this My Team Career Mode series, to cast any kind of decisions that you want to see going forward in this channel. So after a points finish last time in Australia, which was a pretty decent result all things considered, we are now moving on to a track that I found much trickier to drive out of all of them, which unfortunately is Imola. Now, for those of you who have played the game, Imola is a track that's very tight and twisty, not a lot of road on it, so you can't really make a lot of ground. But anyway, we'll get onto that later. Now we're going to decide our rival for this episode, and it's not going to be Valtteri Bottas. We're going to pick Zhou Guan Yu as our main rival because he's inexperienced, and I reckon with the amount of grass we could potentially beat him going into this, going into the season. Good way to get some driver acclaim, which, to be honest, something that I'm definitely struggling with. I know I'm going to need it for less energy wear and more resource point generation, but it's something that I'm still working towards getting for this series. But as of now, we're coming on to our Pirelli Hot Lap. So we chose, I wanted to do the checkpoint challenge, but I ended up doing the Gateway Challenge instead, the average speed zone one, which I've done so many other times. But as you see, like Australia, we're doing ours in the McLaren. I think it might have been the Outtro or the 720S. But anywho, this first couple of runs, I'm only just showing our best runs here. This one didn't go too bad. The fact that it was actually my best run, and we get to just within 1 kph of the goal time. And it was just way too close. And honestly, I spent so much time recording that, it just wasn't a first. But we go. What the fuck? And it's my worst scenario. It's fucking wet, of all things. And as you guys know from watching my league races and my previous My Team Career Mode series in 2021, I hate the wet. And I've had a very hard time driving this track as obvious as it is, especially with this car that handles quite horribly, it has to be said. I'm just showing the practice to give you guys a little bit of context. It's just horrible. I'm not looking forward to this at all. It's a wet track. We're going into qualifying. We've only got one session to practice, so we're going to go straight into qualifying as is the sprint weekend, which is also forecasted for the wet. So all I can say is to hold on. Oh my god, it's dry. It's dry. Slight relief for me. However, there is a slight issue I may not have thought through. My setup is drilled for the wet. Now, I know the rest of the forecasts are meant to be sort of /wet and sunny, but I'm banking on things being a little bit damp. But as you can see, this is definitely affecting my confidence, what I take into the corners, like in terms of what gear that I'm in. And it's just costing me lap time. I've also thrown way too much downforce on this car, which is making things a little bit nicer driving course, a little bit more stable, but I'm not really getting the speed I need at all. I mean, my first lap is an 18.3 for crying out loud, so nowhere near that fast at all. And currently, right now, we are 6/10 slower than Oscar Piastri, who was cruelly robbed of points last time out in Australia, his home ground. Clearly, the Aussie luck biting him there. But the Imola curse is sticking with me. Thankfully, the next lap was quite a lot better. We end up going about 7/10 or so faster on our previous lap. We're down at P18, but with everyone else banking as well, I don't feel like I'm going to be safe with this track time. So we're going to set our initial benchmark here, and then we're going to go again later, although we'll go a little bit wide through the final Ravazza. We're going to set our initial time, then go a little bit later, cool off everything, and then see if we can improve on that time by a few extra tenths. But as it came round to that second time, I'm actually down on our time. We're over a tenth or so down. And currently with P20, we're not going to get through into the next round of qualifying. So we're going completely the wrong route on setup. And not really confident as much in the corners. Not enough speed at all. And we dropped down all the way to the bottom. And we faced ourselves being out-qualified by Nicholas Latifi. Although we do improve on our time, can we at least get off the back of the grid? And the answer is no. We are last. We prepped for the rain hasn't come, I have panicked, and things are well and truly in the mud. We're over 8/10 slower than Piastri. That's tragic, especially as I'm the owner-driver. I feel like Piastri should be taking the lead as the lead driver in this career mode. But I'm not happy with my performance, and I'm not happy with the fact that I was shaken out of what could have been a decent strategy if I went to a dry setup. But I always feel like I have to be prepared for the rain, especially with these cars, and so how easy it is to lose the back end on this thing. This is going to be a very, very hard weekend. I'm really not looking forward to this. With the race is going to be dry, spirits are slightly dampened. Let's see if we can salvage something from the sprint at least.
Forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint.
Okay, now that we've got some good points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Yeah, that's not happening, mate. That's just not happening. We've got completely the wrong setup. Too much downforce on the car, so we'll be a sitting duck on the straights. We weren't quite soft on the setups, which I thought would help, but they're not doing me much favours at all. And once we come around to the grid slot, we go too far and we've been penalised and sent to the back. As all 5 lights come on, let's see what's going to happen for us in this sprint. But anywho, we are underway, and it's a bit of an okay-ish getaway from us. But look, look at the bottom screen. Look how much energy that we're having to use just to stay with Latifi. It's quite a lot, and as soon as we jump off, we go absolutely sinking down to way past the grid, way past the back of the grid. We've got absolutely the wrong setup. We get a nice slingshot out of the corner, so that's Lance Stroll then overtaken by us, and we are here against Nicholas Latifi. Go around to the inside, and I don't know whether there's a little bit of contact there between myself and Latifi. VSC has been deployed, so yeah, to be honest, I think there might have been contact between myself and Latifi. I don't know why the tutorials are still on. I'll definitely need to take them off. But yeah, see, Latifi's front wing's gone off, so I wonder if that's through contact with us. We'll go on to the replay plus and see if that's the case. So let's say, yeah, if you saw on the screen there, as soon as we went through turn 4, I think, his front wing just came off. So let's go on board and see where that happens. Get it down to Soma. So his front comes my front. Okay, how does that work? Okay, last race, Piastri touches the same point and loses only his end plate. Latifi crashes into mine and he loses his whole front wing. Not quite sure that's... Oh, and we almost ruined the safety car restart as we overtake Sergio Perez by accident, but not sure what the Red Bull is doing on the way at the back of this grid as Nicholas Latifi comes into the pits. And as for us, we've got to fend off. So look how far we're dropping back. We've clearly got the wrong setup on this car as we see Lance Stroll coming to overtake us to come down to the inside of turn 1. Stroll's got the inside, but we got the outside, and it is a very ballsy defense from us as we hang on to what's effectively last in this Grand Prix. Because Latifi will be out of the running, surely. But as for us, we got some speed through the corners, which is enough to drop Lance. But whereas everyone Constantine is ahead of us, that's at least going to give us some chance to come back at the rest of the field. But overtaking is going to be difficult on a track which is already difficult enough to overtake as it is. So we come round to the left-hander. Oh, it's a bit of loss. Oh, and we go into the back of Guan Yu Zhou. And we only lose our front wing. Okay, the physics in this game are so broken. Sort it out, Codys. Yeah, not looking to push. They're really cool one, mate. Let's go on the replay just to see how the hell we didn't lose our suspension there. Zhou goes round and then collides with the Aston Martin, and there's nothing we can do to avoid it, and we just go into his side. Not really much we could have done there, but anyway, we make it back to the pits, and frankly, I don't know what to say about that one. I don't know what to say. I'm very lucky to still be in this race, but our luck is just getting so much worse. And the horrible thing with this as well, as you see when I go back to the driver view, I've also suffered the X button glitch. I can't open the menu, so I had no choice of tyres what to go on to. Is it, honestly, does this game want to throw anything else for me to go wrong during this race? Because already we've had all kinds of issues. We've had 2 bits of contact, weather forecasts that are so incorrect, going into Guan Yu Zhou, and physics that don't work. But anywho, we find ourselves at the same place at the start, minus the Alfa Romeo, stuck behind Latifi, and even though we've recharged energy, we're using so much to try and stay with him, but the Williams is just getting that away from us. We have too much downforce on this car, and we use about 70% of battery, and we're about 6 tenths behind. We're not even getting a benefit of a tow at all. I'm actually hoping for rain now, of all things. I'm hoping for a little bit of rain, because that'll at least justify this absolutely rubbish setup that I've got on this car, and hopefully ruin my lackluster chances of actually scoring some points this round. Hopefully, though, Piastri is still in the points. And as for us to come onto lap 6, and we see a car that's gone off at the front. I think that's Max. Yes, that's Max Verstappen. We're trying to capitalise, but I don't think we can. We just don't have the confidence in this car. And we're still behind Nicholas Latifi as we get ahead of Alex Albon. He goes off in front of us as Blas starts into 20th place now. So, okay, so that's 2 places better than we were, which isn't saying much, given the fact that we are in last place. So let's see what happened with Max. He fights the Ferrari and then just goes off. Almost parks the car as he's waiting to come back onto the road, kind of like what George Russell did in the Bahrain Grand Prix. And as he just comes onto the track, he gets in the way of this fight, the scrap going on at the back. And now the Aston Martin gets ahead of him, but we cannot get ahead of Nicholas Latifi. And speaking of Latifi, we go to Agua Minerale, and we still got plenty of grip in here to stay with him. But sadly, I still haven't got the traction confidence in this car to really make the most of the grip that we have. So we sit behind Latifi. We still got we've still got 5 more laps left to go in this sprint. It's so weird we're doing an 11-lap race on this game because it feels so short to sprint, especially on 50 race distance. But then again, I was never really a fan of the sprint in F1, so I don't really know what to expect. But DRS is coming up on the next lap, as Verstappen ahead will surely pass Stroll. And we're also... Look, oh god, we're nearly out of energy, and we're just about with Latifi, which I have no doubt probably didn't even need the energy to stay that far ahead of me. As we see, Verstappen now passes Lance Stroll ahead of us. 4 laps to go in this sprint. And who the hell knows what's going to happen? I mean, I had to be honest, guys. I wasn't really feeling great when I was recording this. It was a pretty odd day, and everything that happened with my washing machine obviously breaking, it just completely threw me off. So when I got around to record this, I was probably not quite in the best mood. But we have had glitches thrown at us in all sorts. So anything above 20th now, I think, is going to be a positive result. As through Agua Minerale, we still struggle as Latifi is fighting Lance Stroll ahead of us and probably get in the midst of what's looking to be a Canadian Civil War, and Latifi gets a bad exit, but because of the Constantina, we can't take advantage of it. He's now got DRS on the Aston Martin and looking to gain, and surely gain some more as we come round up into the first corner. It's still on view with me. Latifi goes to the inside, but the camera's staying with me, and the two are fighting each other as it is. Who's going to get out in front? It's Latifi ahead of Stroll, which is quite telling, as we're going to now try the inside of Lance Stroll ourselves, and we just about force our way through. So that's the Aston Martin down to below, and he's got Alex Albon for company as well, who's just recovered from his spin. And look at that, we've actually got damage to the side of our car, and I'm very surprised it's not being picked up on the MFD. Oh wait, no, the MFD doesn't actually work because of the sodding glitch. But anyway, we come round to Agua Minerale on the end of lap 8, and onto the Ravazza now on the end of lap 8, as Latifi hasn't got DRS, and thankfully for us, we still have a little bit of energy to play with, but with 3/10 behind, surely we must be able to make some kind of overtake work, even with this rubbish car and this rubbish setup, as without energy, we're struggling to get alongside. We go down to the outside, though, for the first corner. Can we make the move stick? Yes, we can, just about. And that's a relief for us. That puts us into P17 as others have made pit stops prior. Thanks for that, Mark. It's not like I can see how much fuel I've got anyway, thanks to the game once again glitching out on me. So, despite all my bad luck, we're finishing in around 17th, 16th place, hopefully, which I think would be an okay-ish result, all things considered. But coming through into the front, I think Piastri is still within a chance of getting points. And that damage on the side is ridiculous. And I'm surprised that Elvis hasn't said anything about it on the radio. And look at that, the rain's coming out, but at a point where I can't actually capitalise on it because the setup, it's about lap 9 of 11. So the rain really isn't going to make much difference. We come round to start the penultimate lap of the race, which is going to be lap 10 of 11, as we see Sebastian Vettel coming into the pits. That's brilliant. That's going to move us up a place. So let's see if we can try and catch Yuki Tsunoda, who, so it looks like with the time delta, has got DRS on Max Verstappen. And Verstappen doesn't look like he's got DRS on Gasly ahead of him either. So let's see if we can probably reel in Tsunoda. I very much doubt that's going to be the case, not in 2 laps. But this is a very, especially with the clouds dimming on us as well. We go a little bit wide. So that's such a weird chicane. It's probably one of my least favourites as we go around the Tosa hairpin. And again, with this one, I can't quite get the acceleration coming out of the corner, which is terrible when I need to actually catch up a car in front of us. But I think I definitely need to do a lot of practice on the track. I think the biggest thing, I actually need to understand this car a little bit more, because it's about as temperamental as a wet cat. Very hard to set up. I'm trying to go soft on the springs just so I can ease some of the weight, try to make it a little bit more stable. But it's just not working, I'm finding. But as you come round to the final lap, it's going to be a win for one of the Ferraris. So I imagine it will be Charles Leclerc. I mean, the Ferraris are looking so dominant this season. I think that they came up with the ratings and the levels of this game pretty early, so you can imagine Ferrari would be on top. But I didn't expect them to code it in a way that would make them almost like Mercedes 2014 like when it comes to their car. And as we see on the screen, rain is coming down, but it's too little too late for us. As we come round to the Ravazza to finish off our run, it's P16 for the sprint. It's not last. We clawed something back thanks to people drowning ahead of us. But we made the best of a bad situation is probably all I can say about that one.
So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Charles Leclerc, currently leading the championship standings, extends his lead even further with this result. It's time to check out the Constructors' standings. Ferrari continue to extend the gap at the top of the table. There was also a strong showing from the Mercedes team today, as they make their way up the standings. With the sprint wrapped up, we now have our grid line up for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
Decent race from Piastri to finish in 9th, but as for us, it's P16. We're only about 12 seconds away from the pack. But I suppose with this setup, it sounds like a minor miracle. But we've obviously losing driver acclaim pretty fast. And it's interesting, after the sprint, it doesn't count anything towards my rivalry with Zhou Guanyu. And he obviously crashed out, so I was kind of hoping it would, because we're going to struggle so much during this race. It's going to be an absolute crazy one. But just beforehand, we got some extra resource points, so we are going to throw on some upgrades onto the car. which for me, I think it's got to be chassis focused, and it's going to be the engine cover. Well, I think we're doing well in terms of tyre wear because I'm not taking too much out of it, and we need that upgrade on the chassis, and we need it now. We've got some upgrades on the aerodynamics from the previous episode, having done that. Same as the statues. All those 3 failed last time, so nice to have them all sorted out. I may look to do some durability upgrades in the future, given how much my engine is starting to wear. But Zhou is ahead of us in terms of rivalry. We've got completely the wrong setup for a completely dry race. All I can say, if there's no Fs in the chat, just pray for me, because this is going to be a very, very tricky round. I honestly don't know what to expect coming up to this.
Hello there and welcome back to Imola, home circuit of the Scuderia Ferrari. We expect to see a lot of local supporters wearing red today, and they've all turned out for what we're expecting will be a sensational event here at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. 3.1 miles of track at Imola, featuring 19 turns, 9 to the right and 10 to the left. Remember that Imola differs from most other Formula One tracks as it's taken anti-clockwise. Let's hope nobody forgets that today. The exit from turn 18 will probably be the setup for many of today's overtakes, leading as it does into the longest straight on the circuit and its only DRS zone. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Esteban Ocon, and Norris, Bottas, Mick Schumacher, Oscar Piastri, and Kevin Magnussen, Ricciardo, Perez, Max Verstappen, and Gasly, Tsunoda, the owner driver, Alex Albon, and Nicholas Latifi, Stroll, Russell, Vettel, and Guan Yu Zhou. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat is Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching out for as they head into turn 1?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
I think really, considering our chances, we've got to do a 1-stop. It's our best chance really to get something out of this race. So as we go on board with the formation lap, we'll wait with the 16th car to obviously get going, and just waiting for everybody else to come round. Now, thankfully, oh god, now I just realised.
We need to learn the gears, so go into each one when you can. We're going to need some work on the brakes, so put some energy.
I don't think I'm.
Warm the tyres as well, please.
I don't think I'm able to press X again. Oh my god. The glitch is still going horribly wrong. To compound our ever-amounting amount of bad luck. I guess it was Piastri's turn last time, and now it's mine. But now I think in this case, just try and keep the tyres warm, and just see what we can make out of this very, very tricky round. Like I said beforehand, this really isn't my favourite track. Especially not in this game. But if anything else, I'm just going to blame Owen for that one. And speaking of Owen, Owen has got his Discord server up, so be sure to go and check that out as well. I'll leave a link to my description. Then let's see what this race can yield for us as we come down to 5 red lights. And we're underway for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, and it is a horrible getaway for us. And we've been mugged by Alex Albon off the line. And won't be long before the TV goes up as well. And now George Russell is also ahead of us. We lost 3 places we've lost at the start, but we're not going to go out losing the place willingly. We're going to fight it alongside Alex Albon as we go down round to the inside. But we make some contact, and against the TV as well. But we also hit the other Romeo, and we are out of the race.
That was a big one. Confirm you're okay, please.
Now, I said, could this have gotten any worse? We're out. We are out of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. And that caps off what has been a dreadful weekend for myself. I honestly don't know what to say, guys. Did not go well at all. And I just hit a wall. And I hit loads and loads of cars along with it. So we retire on the first lap, which was a very anticlimactic finish. So I apologise.
That was to take the win for Ferrari today. And talk to me. What do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on track was: speed. I know it sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
Here come our winners now, a thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
I like to think I've got the bad luck at least out of the way this episode. But Jesus Christ. Panicking in the wet, going for the wrong setup, having 2 collisions in the sprint race, having a glitch that means I can't change the menu, and then we went to retire on the first lap.
So, Anthony David,
Genuinely a disaster for us.
driver of the day.
Often my go-to would be a driver who's managed to pull off an especially impressive feat during the race. However, in this instance, I was more impressed by Max Verstappen's solid, clean driving throughout the event.
Let's move on to the constructors. Ferrari continue to extend the gap at the top of the table. Meanwhile, a strong weekend from Red Bull this time out, and they improved their position in the championship. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action, and I can't wait to see what's next.
Well, I can only hope to put this one behind me. And I'm sorry this one's a little bit shorter than what I originally planned. It's just the problem is I was just struggling to get this thing off the ground. And it's just a track that whatever we're doing, I just could not get anything right. 1U has absolutely smashed us in the mud. And that's us down in the rivalry. And if you look at my driver acclaim, it is going to go right down. So almost to the bottom. So we got a lot of catching up to do for Miami. At least Piastri gets to driver acclaim 7, but the team acclaim has gone down mainly due to myself. And we are a little further away from getting our 3rd sponsor, which is terrible for us. This was just a disaster. I mean, ironically, because it is so hot where I am in the UK of recording this, for those of my UK audience will know, it's been about nearly 40 degrees in this country, and it's been so hard to just concentrate on your basic day-to-day stuff. It was just a disastrous episode, and sorry it's not quite turned out the way we wanted it to be, but at least just to keep some authenticity, first lap retirements are a thing. So, unfortunately, we're just going to have to suck this one up and take this one on the chin as we look to the next round for the Miami Grand Prix, which I'm looking forward to a lot more than I did Imola, because I think it's a little bit nicer to drive, all things considered. But anywho, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this episode. I'm sorry this took a bit longer to come out, but thanks to some disasters at home, it was a little bit longer. But now, I'm going to leave you with the poll for the next episode. Now, seeing that we're in Miami and there was the bonus content with the Miami skin to the content, I'm going to give you guys a choice. As it's the Miami Grand Prix, do I run with the Miami livery or not? If you guys want me to run it, obviously vote yes. If you don't, then vote no. And once I come around to filming this episode, ideally about Friday, then I will be able to, hopefully, get this all done and dusted and get this clipped up before the next round. So make sure you guys vote in my Discord panel. I'll leave a link below. And be sure to check out Owen's as well. He's only just launched his, and alongside my episode as well. So once again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and thanks for bearing with the delay in this episode so far. If you're new around here, obviously hit that like button and subscribe. We would love to have more of you guys about on the channel. And obviously make sure to comment anything you guys want to see as well for this video, or any other videos that you want to see me do in the future. But I think sprint races are probably going to be something I need to work on. But thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Spark, and once again, I'll see you guys next time for Miami. Bye-bye.